It'll get a raids workout on this one. Okay. Yeah, like all I know from the thumbnail on this was the news media is basically taking what happened from those two attacks in New Orleans and New York. Sorry. No, was it New York? There was one in New Orleans, and then the other one was in New York, right? If I'm not mistaken? Where he exploded the Cybertruck? That one was, or Vegas, sorry, that was Vegas, sorry, I'm mixing up my cities. Yeah, so the New Orleans and the Vegas, and the media's running with this, and they're focusing on the fact that they're military, and it seems like now they're calling military veterans, you know what? And no kidding, angry cops and every military person in the fucking country is gonna be taking issue with this. So I don't really watch the news, so I have not heard any of this propaganda bullshit. I'm sure Angry Cops is going to educate me.
This country has suffered more deadly terrorism at the hands of American-born citizens who are veterans of the United States military than people who have crossed into this country at the southern border.
Hey there, do you like the news? Do you
Oh,
trust
God.
it? Is it something
No.
that you look forward to listening to every day? Me
No,
either.
that's why I don't.
Oh my God. Since like 2016, it's done nothing but get worse, worse, and worse. Why did I choose 2016? Oh. And today we're going to talk about probably one of the most egregious, stupid things that a news anchor has ever said. And it's from MSNBC.
Why am I not surprised?
And the anchor
Shocking.
is Lawrence O'Donnell, who has had some interesting takes in the past.
Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where's the hammer? Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering. Stop the hammering.
What O'Donnell talks about in this article we're going to talk about today, the New Orleans attack was done by a veteran. And eventually how veterans are the #1 priority for terrorism in the United States. That's what we should focus on. Veterans. United States military veterans are the highest level of terrorist threat that the United States has. Which, if you don't have a dick driven through your skull, you would say,
that's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
But before we break down this diatribe of diarrhea...
But I will say from the very beginning, maybe instead of saying veterans are the most dangerous threat in this respect, perhaps a better question should be asked. How is it possible that these veterans could have gone down this path? Good night, Falcon. Have a good night. Like, this is the better question. Why are you not asking, how is it possible for these people to go down this path? How bad are things in the country, particularly with veterans, that they went down this path? Because if they were being treated well, I'm speaking facetiously. I know the fucking answer, but I'm speaking facetiously as to why is the media not asking this instead of immediately going, they're the worst terrorists that this country could have. Maybe instead asked, what drove them to this? If America is such a great country, and America loves its veterans, what drove them to this? You know, maybe the fact that they're not getting the benefits that they need, that they have to jump through a million fucking hoops, that they're being ostracized at every fucking turn by the very government that sends them to these nations and gives them PTSD. You know, maybe ask those fucking questions instead of just going, oh yeah, you're terrorist. That's, like, just off the jump. I'm sure I will expound more on this as we progress, but that's my off-the-jump thing, is instead of the first thing coming out of your stupid fucking mouth is jumping to the conclusion that American veterans are the worst terrorists this country could have, versus anything that's crossed the border illegally, again, jumping to that fucking conclusion. How about you ask instead, the first question you should be asking is, what happened that caused a military veteran to hate the country so much they actually attempted a unaliving attack on American citizens in the name of a foreign entity? Maybe ask that question first. Maybe.
From this dickless douchebag.
This man has no dick.
First, a word from this video's sponsor. It's 2025, baby. It's a new year. Time for a new you and a new me. A fresh start to eating better, getting more healthy, getting rid of some of those bad habits and starting some good ones. And you can give your finances a huge fresh start with PDS Debt. This is the year that you start getting out of debt and stop being crushed by it. And the first step is to contact PDS Debt for a personalized debt solution. If you're making payments every month.
Cheer 100. Always remember, before you talk shit about veterans, they fought for your right to say stupid shit like that.
And Beats, I've heard too many absolute dumb fucks on the internet that try to say, oh no, they didn't. They're fighting in foreign nations and blah. They're not fighting for our rights. It's like, shut the fuck up, you dickless wonder. The military is who the country calls upon. In the end, regardless of the fact that they fight in foreign nations on behalf of foreign nations, the military is whom the country calls upon to defend it from enemies, foreign and domestic. The military is in place to protect the citizens of the nation. So the citizens of the nation maintain the right to say stupid shit like that. And I will call people out that say, oh, they didn't fight for that. They're all citing, for insert foreign nation here. They still fucking exist to defend the country from someone that would like to take that right away from you. If the military was not in these foreign fucking nations, is this statement even factually correct? Are veterans the ones who have committed the most attacks in the country, or is he just flat wrong from step one? Excellent question, Zeb. I'm wondering if he's going to... he may answer that, and I'm betting he probably will. But just the key thing to remember, if America was not in these foreign nations, fighting for some of these foreign nations against its enemies, the enemies of that foreign nation, you don't think they'd turn their eyes on the United States as another target? Like, think about the countries in the Middle East. People love to decry things like, like Sharia law. I'll just throw that out there as an example. People love to decry Sharia law. You know what I'm talking about. I'm tongue-tied right now. If it was not for the military presence and its actual capability, you don't think a foreign nation might try to come to the U.S. to try and impose something like, as an example, Sharia law? You don't think that if North America's countries, both America and Canada, didn't have the robust military that it has, you don't think a foreign nation would come in and not try to basically take over and have an entire country that's run by that? No. So yes, the military does ensure the protection of the rights and freedoms that people so flagrantly flout with stupid shit.
On your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS has solutions for you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there's no minimum credit score required.
Oh, Zeb, don't. Now we're getting something totally different.
Make this year the year you take control of your debt. PDS Debt has customized options for anybody struggling with credit card debts, personal loans, collections, and medical bills. PDS Debt strives to understand your specific scenario and can help provide alternative solutions in becoming debt-free. Get a free debt analysis at pdsdebt.com/angry. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/angry. Now back to the smooth-brained, overly Botoxed forehead of this numbskull news anchor, Lawrence O'Donnell.
First, there was Timothy McVeigh.
And by the way, to my recollection, and if anybody can, and if there's more information here, if I'm forgetting something, please correct me. I'm pretty sure Lawrence O'Donnell's big claim to fame in the journalistic space is he was like a congressional assistant or something or he was like a congressional aide, I think, in like some time ago before his journalistic career. That was his big thing. He jumped from being a congressional aide of some sort into journalism, and that is apparently how he's like a respected journalist. I think that's that's the jump he made. I could be mistaking it, or I could be confusing the position he had. He wasn't a congressperson himself, but I'm pretty sure he was like an aide and he worked with a congressman, I think, and then took that and parlayed that into journalism, and he is considered highly respected in journalistic circles, I think.
An American military veteran who killed 168 people, including 19 children.
Quit talking slow.
Let's talk about Timothy McVeigh. You can go to his Wikipedia page and read a whole bunch of bullshit and see he's in the reserves, and he's an engineer for a little while in the army, and didn't really like it.
Okay, you missed that, but it flashed in the corner right underneath where you guys are. He wasn't an engineer. He was a 19 kilo. He was a tanker. And yes, Emperor, new Mike. Who dis?
Radicalization point was Waco, Texas. Now, I'm not sure which side of the aisle you're on here, but Waco was not a smooth operation. It was a little dirty. A lot of people got shot. Tons of kids died by being burned up in that building, which is still like, did the ATF and FBI start it when they went through it with the tank, or did Davidians start it because they were like, screw it, this is a suicide pact, we're going. Either way, that entire event being televised and not looking good in any way, shape, or form, tactically at all, was what set him over the edge.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
It wasn't his military training. It wasn't like Timothy McVeigh walked into the army and then walked out just like a screaming, crazy, anti-government nut job.
With America's latest terrorist attack in New Orleans on New Year's Eve.
All right, so O'Donnell here is trying to compare the federal building bombing to the New Orleans bombing. And the only connecting...
Wait.
Cheer 100 MNSBC need to careful CNN just settled with U.S. Navy veteran after defamation verdict.
You would think, Durahan. Yeah. You have ads? Okay, Joshua. But, I'm sorry. Maybe angry cops got confused for a second. I didn't think the New Orleans thing was an explosive. That was the Vegas thing, was it not? The Vegas thing was the explosive. The New Orleans thing was basically essentially a hit and run, was it not? And thank you, Grumpy. Yeah, I think he may be confusing the two events. Because the New Orleans person, like, ran down a bunch of people, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there was shooting involved too. I don't think I knew about the fact that there was shooting. I just knew about ramming by vehicle. That's the only part that I knew about Ping. No, Vegas was Cybertruck go kaboom with driver inside. That's what Vegas was. You're thinking of the elevated shooter. That was a couple years ago, and it was something completely different. Completely different. Has nothing to do with this.
The New Orleans bombing. And the only connecting factor here is that they were both in the military at some point, right? By the way, both of them not currently in the military when they did it, out of the military. McVeigh got out in 1991 before the bombing in 1995.
Okay,
the guy that did New Orleans was a paper pusher. He was an admin nerd, which there's nothing wrong with being an admin nerd. But you know what admin nerds aren't doing? They're not going out and like clearing buildings and learning how to mess with explosives. They're typing away on their computer, and once a year they go to the range to qualify, and usually that's a shit show because they're so bad at shooting. Without going...
Ex-military people or current military people in my chat. How accurate? Huh? How accurate?
Under the Rangers' zero tactical advantage in being a veteran as an admin guy when doing any sort of attack compared to Timothy McVeigh. That's like comparing Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, to 9/11 because they both used things that exploded. The New Orleans attack had far more in common with 9/11 because of Islamic extremism.
No one who has ever crossed the southern border has killed more people in this country than Timothy McVeigh.
So, the way that you worded that, let's rewind this, right? Let's rewind this and look at this.
Sharpshooter! Mean! I think I could handle myself just fine with full auto. Maybe not with the new SIG, but I think I would do okay. With a smaller. Like, give me a assault. I could do it with assault. Yeah, I could handle full auto with assault. Yes.
He says not a singular person, not one person has come over and done the same amount of damage as Timothy McVeigh. Can we play back that? Can we play back that?
No one who has ever crossed the southern border has killed more people in this country than Timothy McVeigh.
You're taking the deadliest American terrorist attack in the United States history post Pearl Harbor, which that was an act of war, so maybe because it's pre 9/11, maybe the largest terrorist incident in American history at the time, and you're comparing it to anything else? That's like trying to compare me in boxing to Floyd Mayweather. I don't even know how many fights Floyd Mayweather has been in professional boxing wise, whereas I have been in 0. Like, there is no comparison from just a random dude to Floyd Mayweather. And even if we were to go with, like, crime, right? Let's keep it with crime. Timothy McVeigh is like 160 dead and like another 180 wounded. Even if it's like a Mexican cartel shooting, like a gang shooting, mass casualty event for them is probably like 5, 8, or 10 dead. Like, that's like the next thing. The closest attack comparatively to that was the Vegas shooting where 77 people died, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Boy, did I go through a whole bunch of different
And that's why he was, what you guys were referencing was the Vegas shooting that was a couple years ago. That the guy was in the high rise and he was at he was in like a hotel. I think it was a Vegas hotel, and that's what you guys, I forget who it was that was referencing it, but that's what he was talking about.
Terrorist event to try and research this. But once again, just quickly bottling that up, you're taking the worst incident in American terrorism before 9/11, and you're comparing it to everything else. You know what? I found a really good analogy now. I just thought of it. That's like comparing the United States medal count, like gold medal Olympic count, to Chile. I was going to say Uruguay first. I honestly don't know which one is worse. Let's talk about that too, okay? Not one person has gotten the high score that Timothy McVeigh got in body count. Okay.
Wait, couldn't see what, Atanashi? What is it you couldn't see? Basically, 1,145 medals versus 3. Wait.
Wait, first. I honestly don't know which one is worse. Let's talk about that too.
That one was 2.
Not one person has gotten the high score that Timothy McVeigh got in body count. Okay. How about a group there, dumbass? How about you take this dishonest rhetoric, anti-veteran that you've got, and you compare it to, let's say, what's killing more people than Timothy McVeigh? The heroin and fentanyl epidemic. Oh my God. You remember in 2020 during COVID, there was billboards up saying, don't trust your cocaine, test it, because these are putting fentanyl in your coke to get you hooked on fentanyl, and everybody's ODing because they're like, a bump before we go home? Sure, honey. Down for the count. Oh, and the gang violence across the border, that has absolutely, we're going to ignore that too. So all the cartel gang violence, dope running, gun smuggling, human trafficking, human trafficking that we've got going across the border, okay, that is overshadowed by the massive, overwhelming majority of terrorism brought on by United States military veterans. It's almost...
Okay, I mean, he's going on an angry rant, which is understandable, but let's face it, Lawrence O'Donnell said that whole thing about Timothy McVeigh being the most deadly attack versus anything that's come across the southern border because MSNBC is trying to push the agenda of open borders. They willfully ignore all of the shit that happens at the southern border, everything that Angry Cops is talking about, dragging what you've been talking about. There was actually a very popular low-budget movie that did absolutely fucking gangbusters starring Jim Caviezel a few years ago about that exactly. They're willfully ignoring all of that because they have to run their agenda. That's the whole ever-loving point. They'll pretend like they actually give a shit about border security. They will pretend. They'll give a token line of course we want good borders. But then they go fucking apeshit when actual steps are taken to facilitate it. And they and cry and say, oh, we're being horrible people. When it's like, no. Do you want a secure border? Things have to happen. You can be humane and merciful. And that's why there is such a thing as refugee statuses and going through proper procedure. And yes, the procedure to get, like, visitation, residency, citizenship, etc. takes a long fucking time because guess why? America is packed to the fucking gills with people right now. Outside of certain Asiatic countries, America is one of the most densely populated countries on the planet. So, yeah, they don't have enough food or housing for everybody, to say nothing of the hundreds of thousands that are trying to come in either legally or illegally all the fucking time. So let's not fuck with it. This is something that has to happen, and yeah, you may not like it. You may not like that the poor pretty girl coming up from the southern border can't get in because she wants to be a fucking influencer in the United States. Guess what? There's a reason for it. The people handling with, actually wanting to basically have security at the South, they're not doing it just simply to be assholes. That's the narrative that stations like MSNBC do. They're acting like, oh, the people that want to do this are just assholes and only care about, creating draconian laws and shit like that. They're conveniently ignoring the reasons behind needing to fucking do it.
Almost a lie. The way that he words it, it isn't a lie, but it's intentionally being disingenuous and leaving out the obvious that besides a few freaking wacko outliers, obviously the consistent, constant...
Yeah, Zed, talking about that we're in a hiring crisis with no one taking jobs because it's jobs people don't want to work. It's the fast food industry jobs. It's basically the low paying worker jobs that people are like, well, I can do better than that. I don't want to do a low job like that. I'm too insert personalized characteristic here to do something like that. I mean, There's that, there's machinists, there's also that. The jobs are also paying at a wage so low, it's impossible to live off because of inflation, and pricing is going through the fucking roof. There's, like, it's a whole shitload of stuff, but pricing and things like that going through the roof is a factor involved here of why when you get so many fucking people coming in, there's a factor in there, there's a, you need to follow the economic rabbit hole down of why all of these prices are going up like this. Follow the money, and you'll see why all these prices are going up, and it's likely because the corporations just want more fucking money, and so they're jacking the prices up on fucking everything, and so that's tangentially increasing prices on other things. Like, that is an entire, not a rabbit hole, that's a fucking wormhole that you would have to go down to. And yeah, the false job postings, Reddit. Quasi-false job postings where they're just cultivating resumes, but they don't actually have a job, but they want to keep those resumes, in their back pocket, just in case they might need it, which they'll never need it. That's a whole different thing, way off topic from this.
Threat of crime, overdose, etc. coming up from the southern border will dwarf that. And I already know, I can read in between the lines, right? He's gonna be like, this is racism. Everybody should come up through the border and like blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, you know who gets more security background checks and who has to have an ID on them at all times and all that other bullshit that doesn't happen at the southern border? U.S. military veterans, right? If you're in the military, you do. We get more background checks than people coming up through the border, and we get told, no, sorry, you've got one too many arrests to be in the military, whereas some of these people are just coming up through the border. This isn't about the border. This is about this stupid remark. So let's get back to terrorism. Now, this is not a comprehensive list. However, I did go to several .gov.org sites and Wikipedia to start listing some of the terrorist attacks that have happened in the United States and how many of them were veterans. Now, that being said, while looking through the terrorist attack list, it left out mass shootings like Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas wasn't a veteran that did it anyway. It was a mass shooting, but there was no terroristic intent, or at least there wasn't some manifestos. I'll give you a case in point for a veteran that we're not going to use. The Navy guy. 2013, Jordan Dorner killed like 4 LAPD cops to include like their family members because he got fired and he hated LAPD and he wanted to take revenge on LAPD. It's a veteran that lost his brain, started killing people, not a terrorist event. That's more of an intentional murder or a mass murder event. Not politically or ideologically driven.
Yeah, Grumpy? Yeah, we don't. Think about how massive that was. When the thing happened in Vegas, that was big fucking news. That was, like, supposedly bigger than any other mass bang that had happened in recent memory within the last, like, 10 years. Even with some of the, with some of the school ones, like Sandy Hook. But what does that tell you? It tells you that mass bangs in the United States have become so fucking prevalent that even big ones in a week, gone. People forget about it. Yeah. Maybe fucking look into that a little bit, huh? Before you start talking about, like, okay, we saw, you want to talk about the Vegas and New Orleans incident and how those veterans, cool. What about all the mass bangs? Okay, there are a fuckload more mass goddamn bangs, particularly in schools, on a yearly basis than there are incidents like Vegas and New Orleans. And 99.9% of them are not military. And I'm sorry, they're not quote-unquote terrorist. Okay? But you're getting more of them. Cumulatively speaking, it's unaliving more people than any quote-unquote terrorist event that is unaliving people by a veteran. So let's not fuck with it. Let's not pull this, this stupid-ass MSNBC journalistic twisting of the facts here. mass bang-bangs, statistically speaking, unalive more people in the United States than veteran-induced attacks. Flat out. And that is being conveniently ignored. And you know what? It's turned into, oh, there's been a mass bang-bang? Must be Tuesday. And that is a fucking horrible way to live life. It's like, let us not ignore the fact that mass bang-bangs, particularly in schools, are so fucking prevalent. There's an actual market to sell bulletproof or bullet-resistant backpacks to children. Motherfucking children. They market this. Okay? Why don't you fucking look at that goddamn insanity and how you are fucking normalizing school you-know-whats to the point that parents need to seriously consider every fucking year getting their child a quote-unquote bulletproof backpack. Because your child is at a very real goddamn risk of losing their life just by going to fucking school. I'm sorry, that is a lot more pressing than what the fuck your stupid shit is you're talking about. Shit. Okay. Shit. Sorry. I'm sorry, I've started going to... I'm sorry, that got me so angry I was about to start crying. Okay? But that kind of thing is a hell of a lot more prevalent that needs to be talked about than this stupid bullshit that he's talking about. Get your fucking priorities in order, you stupid fucking journalistic hack.
Do we get each other now? Okay, cool. Let's read off the list and see how many of these are veterans.
Are ya ready, kids?
April 95. The Fed Building, Timothy McVeigh. Bing, we've got one. The creme de la creme of all terrorist attacks prior to 9/11.
Well, and this is just a gold mine that journalists will fucking go back to every chance they get. Every chance they get. 30 fucking years ago, this happened. And they will mine this fucking thing for the next 50 fucking years. And that's how fucking pathetic they are. They can't let go of 30 years when they're trying to make a point of that with what Lawrence O'Donnell say. He's got to reach back literally 30 fucking years to come up with something to basically besmirch veterans because he's a fucking journalistic hack.
11. October 95, Sheikh Umar Abdul-Rahman. Plot to blow up the UN. 96, the Air Force bombing. 19 dead. 99, plot to blow up the LA airport. October 2000, the USS Cole. September 11th, duh. December 1st, Richard Reed shoe bomb. June 2007, plot disrupted to blow up jet fuel at JFK International Airport. June 2009, Little Rock, Arkansas, Abdul Hakim Muhammad, 1 dead, 1 wounded. November 2009, Adal Malik Hassan, killed 13, 29 wounded at Fort Hood. Veteran. That guy was still serving. So far we've got 2. December 09, failed flight bombing of Flight 253 from Detroit with Umar Farouk Abdul something or other. May 2010, failed car bomb in Times Square. Pakistan Taliban take.
I don't know if he's mentioned it. The DC sniper. Was that not considered terroristic? I thought it was, and I cannot for the life of me remember when that took place. Did he already mention that with, where was it? Not him. The one before him. That was 2002. Yeah, was that when did he mention that one? No, he didn't even mention that one. Was that not a terrorist? Was that not considered a terrorist attack? The DC sniper? I thought that was considered because of the nature behind it. It wasn't? Okay. I thought it was. I am mistaken.
December 09, failed flight bombing of Flight 253 from Detroit with Umar Farouk Abdul something or other. May 2010, failed car bomb in Times Square. Pakistan Taliban take credit with Faisal Shahzad. February 2001, Jihad Jain. Colleen LaRousse, terrorism-related charges. April 2013, the Boston bombing. January 2016, Islam terrorist shoots Philly cop. September 16, pipe bomb, pressure cooker, 3 wounded, including the suspect, Ahmad Rahami. December 15, San Bernardino, Christmas party, 14 dead, 22 wounded with the Arab couple. September 2016, mass stabbing with Tahir Adwan, 10 wounded in Minnesota. 2017, January, Fort Lauderdale airport shooting. That was a veteran. He had a mental health crisis. In February, Kansas City. Adam Purinton accidentally shot some Indian guys because he was anti-immigrant. March, a white supremacist stabbed a guy to death. June, the congressional baseball shooting. June again, stabbing at Flint, Michigan airport. August, Charlottesville vehicle attack. October, truck attack with an ISIS flag. December, pipe bomb in the subway, which was an Islamic terrorist attack. 2018, now we're on the 2018. God, 2017 sucked. White nationalist stabbing. 2019, church burnings and mosque burnings. Shots fired at a Jewish temple. August, El Paso, Walmart shooting. 23 dead. December, Jersey City, 4 dead from the Black Israelite movement. 2022, Colleyville, Texas, Jewish temple held hostage. April, black supremacists, 10 wounded, 19 injured. May, Buffalo, New York, 10 dead, 3 wounded. My city. And that brings us to 2024. Now, this isn't even a comprehensive list of all terrorist attacks done to Americans, because some of them were done abroad. These were all stateside. And four of them, including New Orleans and the Federal Building, were veterans. So, shut the f up. You want to know what the overwhelming majority were? Islamic extremists. 2 of the veteran attacks were Islamist extremists. So out of all of those incidents, all of them that I just read, and that's not even a fully comprehensive list, 4 of them were veteran related. 1, the Oklahoma City bombing. The other 2, although veterans, yes, are Islamist extremists. The Fort Hood shooting and New Orleans. And then the 4th one, the odd one out of not being the worst in United States history, not being the other 2 that make up the 4, which are Islamic extremist attacks. It's a crazy guy in an airport in Fort Lauderdale that had a complete mental breakdown and got taken down and got put on super psychotic meds to even him out. So, Lawrence O'Donnell of MSNBC, go
here we go
yourself, you lying piece of trying to push forward a false narrative that veterans, military people are the ones we need to watch out for. Now, I usually share what I really think on some topics that, I can get a little sassy on Pepperbox. And feel free to go over to Pepperbox and watch mine and all the other cool YouTubers that are on. There's videos that are uncensored without ads. But I'll give you a taste of what I'm going to put over there. To me, having already watched legacy media
Okay. He's going in, and we probably don't have too much more left. Again, what Lawrence O'Donnell and everyone at MSNBC is trying to do is their job is to basically say the very foundational tenets that is what maintains America. It's what the very tenets that allow them to spew this absolute bullshit that cannot be backed up by facts or statistics. And God knows they love to try and throw the bullshit facts or statistics out there. The very thing they are reeing against is what is permitting them to say this absolute bullshit. Remember this. He and those at that news network are able to say this thing because of the very things that they ree and cry and moan about. It's because of the veterans. It's because of the laws and trying to maintain tight borders so people like that cannot get into the country. It's because of things like that that you are able to spout off dumbass bullshit without any sourcing, without any statistics, without any numbers to back you up. It allows you to spout off such bullshit when you have never been in the situation that you are espousing about with some kind of bullshit air of authority. And that's why nobody fucking cares about them. That's why these major news media and sources, primarily MSNBC and CNN, are fucking tanking up their ass. Nobody believes them anymore. The general thought now is if it comes from MSNBC or CNN, you don't believe it. Because they're going to take a kernel fact and then twist it into a Peruvian fucking knot to make it fit an agenda that their network and their owners want to push out, so no one fucking believes them anymore. But they're still fucking spouting the bullshit. It doesn't stop them from spouting the bullshit. And you can absolutely be pissed about spouting the bullshit. Just take some solace in knowing that actual intelligent people, that people with their own minds, don't believe a fucking thing they say. They know that they're bullshit. They know that they're just spouting agenda-laden drivel, that they can't back it up. And yeah, they're running themselves into the fucking ground. Okay, CNN just had to do that massive payout for slander. I'm amazed more of that has not come up lately. But again, we're going to continue to call out the fact that shit like what Lawrence O'Donnell is saying is completely ignoring. They want to try and just focus on terrorism. Because the latest two, it's the hot button fucking topic. That these two individuals, New Orleans and Vegas, were veterans. They want to fixate on that. Because holy shit, we can dog on veterans. Yay. But they're going to ignore that the number of mass bang-bangs that are happening every fucking year in the United States, mass bang-bangs, school bang-bangs, are ending the lives of a fuck ton more people than these quote-unquote terrorist attacks. Now, actually, I shouldn't even say quote-unquote. They are terrorist attacks. But these mass shootings are harming way more people than terrorist attacks. But they're not talking about that. It's become normal, which is a terrifying, absolutely terrifying conclusion. And they're also ignoring the fact that you're taking a tiny, absolutely fucking tiny sample size and applying it to all veterans. Veterans who put their fucking lives on the line every fucking day in foreign nations and your own nation. They are doing the job that you, Lawrence O'Donnell, are too much of a fucking pussy to ever do. They do it gladly. Day in and day fucking out. And for you to goddamn besmirch veterans as a whole, instead of saying these are two individuals that are outliers, let's look at why they're outliers and what drove them to this. No, you're gonna blanket statement fucking veterans? Go and fuck yourself with a barbed wire dildo soaked in ghost pepper hot sauce right before it gets heated up to about 1,000 degrees Celsius and shove it straight the fuck up your ass. You fucking hack. Hey, veterans do not get the respect that they deserve. they do not get the respect they deserve, and they don't get the care that they deserve for putting their lives on hold and at risk. So you can spout this stupid, fucking, uneducated bullshit on a daily basis and make fucking millions off of it. Okay, when you put a gun in your hands and go to a foreign nation and put your life on the line, like veterans do, then you can maybe say something. But till then, you shut your fucking mouth. Shut your fucking mouth. You don't deserve to rip the polish off their fucking boots. There. Yeah. Go fuck yourself, fucking piece of shit. Fuck. No. Fuck. Okay. Oh. Okay. Hey, let's get through this. Let's get through this.
Kind of die and twist into this incredibly biased view of the news. This moment where O'Donnell says we need to start fearing our veterans is a big red flag for me.
Now, you don't need to start fearing your veterans. You need to be fucking thanking them. Although, okay, saying that you need to start fearing your veterans makes it sound like the military only allows the enlistment of people that are unhinged fucking lunatics. And I'm sorry, that line of thinking belongs to an unhinged fucking lunatic, you goddamn cum-guzzling, cock-gobbling thunder cunt. I've got something for your ass, and it's heating up. Motherfucker.
For me, right? It's almost like 1982 or whatever that book that George Orwell wrote, where the media is making you believe who your enemies are, even though they're not. So then there's a constant conflict with a different group or a different thing, so then they can remain in power. I'm not trying to be Alex Jones here.
I'm kind of retarded.
But if the mainstream news is telling you that you can't trust the people that voluntarily serve to protect your country and your rights from outside influences and to go out of their way to some war-torn land to provide aid, I see that as some sort of disgusting trick. Some would say psyop, but I don't want to label it that because people tune out when you say psyop. But I'll say unintentional lie for you to disregard and distrust people or a group of people. Don't trust them. They're bad. They think differently than us. They're the enemy. By the way, pay no attention to this actual issue over here. It's these guys. These are the bad guys.
And who is more prevalent at the accusations of wrongthink than MSNBC, CNN, and all of the groups that they affiliate themselves with? maybe those groups might be, oh, I don't know, political in nature perhaps.
Fear the vets. If that's the takeaway from this and not a need for VA reforms, then your head is too far up your ass and you should reconsider your life.
No, of course, because why should veterans be provided with the care that they need after serving the country? But no, let's pay the
I never
agencies
got the
millions.
logic of screwing GWOT guys who you taught the methods to take a country down. Reminds me of that one TNG episode where they made perfect soldiers, sent them to war, screwed them over and are surprised when they retaliate. SMH. Cheer 100.
I'm getting so fucking pissed. I'm getting all screwed up here. Yeah. Okay, bottom line. MSNBC, CNN, and everything they support love to accuse people of wrongthink. But think the way we do, because that way we can pay our corporate overlords millions and billions of dollars. But don't you dare wrongthink, because we're gonna do something about that. And I'm being extremely basic with that. Extremely, okay? What I just said does not adequately express the nuance behind it. I'm just so fucking pissed off right now. I'm having trouble articulating what I'm trying to say.
Well, all us veterans are standing over here looking at him like, all I fucking did was sleep in the dirt, and you're the one treating me like shit. You wonder why I hate the legacy media. You wonder why I hate the government? It's because of fucking this. If you want to radicalize people, Mr. O'Donnell, you keep going ahead and laying out some bombastic bullshit saying that veterans, military people, pretty sure you're probably one of the people that say cops and first responders too, are the people you can't trust. The people that are putting their ass on the line every day, not hiding behind some newsroom desk. Those are the ones that you have to fear. You. Fucking hair transplant looking peanut oversized head piece of shit.
This concludes your free Pepperbox trial. Go to pepperbox.tv for more.
Best way to support the channel is get yourself a shirt. Look at this shirt. The patron saint of hate and discontent. A drill sergeant. Very handsome. I enjoy it. We've also got new shirts with Gather the Goons. Teddy's on the moose. The bull moose, that is. And George Washington's getting ready to rock. Look at Horde. Cheapest way to support the channel is leave a comment. Do you think
Bushmen? I do. I think about them with the aforementioned implement. And hi, Bushmen. How are you enjoying the stream?
Think that the United States military veteran or active duty service member, reserve guard person is the biggest terrorist threat in the United States, like frickin' Lawrence O'Donnell says that we are? Might be the biggest threat to his job because I've done more due diligence in this 15-minute video than he did for his 8-minute rant about how terroristy threaty I am. Four veteran terrorist attacks since 1973, 2 of which were freaking Islamic extremist attacks. All right. See you next time, weirdos. When do I want to add in that it was the largest terrorist attack on U.S. soil? Like, besides 9/11. Like, it's the 9/11. It was 9/11 before 9/11 happened.
Yeah, you said I was gonna rage, and I raged. I didn't realize how much I was going to rage. I didn't realize it was gonna take that long. I didn't think it would. It did, and I'm not sorry. And by the way, I was in the middle of going crazy about it, but whoever it was that gifted 25 subs, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much.